Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a secret. I'm actually psychic, and my psychic abilities have told me that if you click subscribe, you will have extreme wealth, luck, happiness, love in your life. Now, it might not be literal, but it could be a placebo. So if you click subscribe, you might actually put that energy into the universe, and in return, it will happen. Just saying. I also post daily videos, weekly live streams, and monthly giveaways. Doesn't get much better than that. Keep you guys up to date on a day-to-day basis. Now, what is up with silver right now? It's down, but we know it's going to go back up. But that's not even really what we're going to talk about. We covered the reasons of that, having to do with the dollar index, the FOMC meeting, Federal Chairman Jerome Powell talking about the dollar strength. But, we covered that. Now, I've been seeing more and more articles, more and more people coming out and saying, you know what? I'm talking about triple-digit silver. Covered it in an article yesterday. Triple-digit silver. The perfect storm has to happen, though. And it is, but there's still a lot of other variables, and not even including the unknown variables at bay, that is going to have to come together. $100 silver isn't realistic in the next year. Probably not even 2 years. I don't want to mislead you. I don't want to give you false hope. Precious metals is a much slower market than Bitcoin. Doesn't mean there's not as much potential. Doesn't mean it's not as good, because it definitely is. It just doesn't move the same. The markets aren't solely based off speculation like Bitcoin is. And that's why silver is such a safe investment, because you can't just manipulate the price and do what you want with it. It's protected against people trying to manipulate it. Now, it's interesting because Wall Street silver is almost trying to do that in a positive way, in a profitable way. But you're going to see a lot of give and take, a lot of push and pull. But at the end of the day, Wall Street silver is gaining hundreds of thousands of members, and it's just promoting silver. A lot of new stackers are coming in, and that's a beautiful thing in my opinion. Regardless of why it started, it's turning into something else. Now, I want you guys to comment down below when you think silver will hit $50 and $100. And when I say soon, it's very loosely used, because what's soon to me might not be soon to you. If I say $100 silver happening soon, you might perceive that as, oh, soon, in a couple of months. But when I say $100 silver soon, I could be talking about a year or 2 years. You see how people can perceive the information differently than what it's intended? Someone might think soon is tomorrow. Someone else might think soon means 2 months. Someone else might think soon is 2 years. So I like to give a lot of context. Context matters. If I'm going to say $100 silver soon, I'm going to talk about how soon, why, what would have to happen, and also what we should do about it. $50 silver is a no-brainer. That is going to happen. I mean, it's so blatantly obvious. It has to, especially looking back to what led silver to $50 last time. Same things, same situation, just a lot more severe, a lot more extreme now. So, of course, it's going to hit $50. But now we also have a lot more on the table. This issue we're dealing with, all the silver we need, right? We go over that all the time. We know that. We know that stuff. But there's a lot of other things that we aren't really looking at that also could affect it. And not always positively. Not everything's not always rainbows and unicorns, and I'm not going to portray it that way. But I can guarantee banks, I can guarantee JP Morgan, I can guarantee Tesla, I can guarantee a lot of people don't want silver to go high. I can guarantee that stocks, even Bitcoin, anything that goes against the grain, people that are bullish for the dollar index, they don't want silver to go up, because silver is a direct threat to the US dollar. It is. Federal Chairman Jerome Powell talked about 0% interest rates, and they're going up. The dollar strength is like 90 point or something, or 90.58 or something like that. And it is going up. It's strengthening, but that's not going to last very long. So silver will in return go back up. But what happens when silver's price breaks away from the dollar index? Could that happen? And if that happens, what would it look like? I always say this, and I say spot price is irrelevant, and people look at me crazy. But it's true. Silver is valuable because of the metal inside of it. It's not valuable because someone is telling you that that coin is worth that much money. 5,000 years ago, there was no such thing as US dollars, but it was still valuable. See what I'm saying? Silver is valuable regardless if the dollar exists or not. And when the dollar's gone, silver's still going to be valuable because it's the 1 ounce inside of the coin, not the price tag attached to it. That's why silver is the best investment, and gold. Nothing else has intrinsic value to that nature. And once you understand that, then you would start to realize that $50 silver, $100 silver is pennies to the reality of how valuable silver truly is, especially since $100 is it's getting weaker and weaker. What you could buy for $100 5 years ago is a lot different than what you could buy for $100 today. And in 5 years, 10 years, $100 is going to be a lot weaker than what you could buy with today. Just like back in the day, you hear your grandparents or your parents say, oh, back in the day, a gallon of gas was this, or a pack of cigarettes was, you know what I'm saying? The dollar's weakening. So if we're looking at $100 silver, $100 isn't that much money, and it's going to keep weakening, losing its purchasing power. Silver stays the same though. That 1 ounce isn't going to start evaporating. 1 ounce of silver is always going to be 1 ounce of silver. The dollar's value is always dropping, collapsing, crashing, getting weaker. So if we look at 20 years from now, think how weak, if the dollar even survives that long, think how many more dollars it would take to buy an ounce of silver simply off the dollar's purchasing power weakening. Inflation, hyperinflation, third world countries, they carry their money in trash bags and weigh their money on scales. It's like the US dollar having the purchasing power of like 5 or 10 cents. So imagine a paper dollar was worth 20 cents. So if you went to the store and wanted to buy $7 worth of stuff, you have to hand over hundreds of these dollar bills, hundreds of these bills. Imagine if you're buying something for $50 and you have to hand over thousands of these bills. They just weigh their money and get an estimated, an estimated number. They literally do this, and that's the way, that's the direction the United States is headed. It's just going to take us a little longer because we're wealthier, we're richer. And the only reason we are wealthier is because we own the most gold. But we could take this a step further though. Now, you see like the Zimbabwe $1 trillion bill, right? That's real. When systems collapse, there has to be a backup. And I've actually covered articles where the higher ups, the elites, are already looking for a backup plan. It's going to be something like Fedcoin, USD coin. See, what was it? It was Tether and Ripple. So Tether was the first crypto that was pegged to $1. So that was almost like US dollars, pegged to $1. Tether, the price doesn't go up or down, pegged to the US dollar. So it's great if you wanted to keep your money in crypto, but know that it's always going to be in dollars terms, in dollars values. But then Ripple came along. Ripple's controlled by central banks. So a central bank owns a decentralized cryptocurrency. But then you have USDC, USD coin, US dollar coin. And then now you have Fedcoin. Federal Reserve has their own cryptocurrency called Fedcoin. Do you see how central banks are slowly trying to take over crypto And crypto's already replacing the dollar right before our eyes. PayPal accepts it now. Everywhere accepts it. Coinbase was the number one downloaded app on Android and iOS, and that was in 2017. Imagine nowadays. Coinbase ads are everywhere. Everyone and their mom and their dad and their cat and their neighbor is investing into Bitcoin. Celebrities, it is replacing the dollar. And people don't realize that because they're so blindfolded, they're so just obsessed with money that they can't realize that we are going to a digital type of coin, especially with the situation we're in. Nobody wants to touch physical dollars anymore at the store. They don't want that. Think of if you're watching a sci-fi movie and you look in the future, what would their money look like? Something like Bitcoin, something like crypto, right? It would be digital, very virtual. It's crypto. But since that's happening, what would silver's role be? Well, I think that since crypto isn't really backed by anything of real value because it's just a digit on a screen, we would be seeing a lot more silver-backed cryptos, gold-backed cryptos, or, people that could keep their Bitcoin, keep their whatever, their crypto, and in return exchange it, kind of like the gold certificates. Or we could do something along the lines of, we're never going to go back to the gold standard. I know Donald Trump made a joke about that, but it's not realistic. We're too deep in the hole. We can't fix this, and that's why I say there is no solution, but there is an alternative, and the alternative is gold and silver. So getting back to the $100 silver thing, I said all that because you can kind of see what I mean now when I say $100 for an ounce of silver is nothing, because $100 is going to keep getting weaker and weaker as the years go on. But silver isn't going to get weaker because the 1 ounce of silver inside of it isn't going anywhere. Think about silver's price in 500 years from now, 200 years from now, 100 years from now. How weak would the dollar be then? And it would not survive that long, but how weak would the dollar be, and how many dollar bills would it take? 100 years ago, think about how the dollar would barely even exist back then. So think 100 years in the future. The dollar, if it would be extremely deflated. There's no way it would last that long. It's already about to collapse as it is, but theoretically speaking, you would need a lot of dollars to print off. And the more you print off, the more it weakens the dollar in return. You would need thousands of dollars to equal an ounce of silver. So I'm trying to twist your perspective to look at things from dollar terms, but where it's headed. But not only that, the stigma, the stereotype you have for $100 that's in your brain right now is ever changing, because $100 right now isn't going to hold the same value that it will next year. So right now, currently in time, yes, $100 for an ounce of silver seems like a lot, but in 5-10 years, even 2-3 years, especially with the amount of money, the trillions we're going to keep throwing out over the next 2-3 years, it's not going to be that crazy. So I'm curious what you think the price would be. And that's only one angle. We only talked about this from the financial standpoint. We haven't even gone into the industrial uses, the individual silver stackers like you and I, the 5G electric vehicles, solar panels, silver lithium. There's so much more to this besides just that. And that's why silver's a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. That's why silver is... It's by far, it's blatantly obvious, by far the best investment. Number one performing asset in 2020. Nobody talked about it because they don't want you to know. So I try to make videos exposing the truth. I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you thought this video was 1, educational, 2, informational, 3, at least entertaining, make sure to smash the like button. I post daily videos, weekly live streams, and monthly giveaways. I'm extremely tired. I've been making videos all day. Hopefully, you guys were able to comprehend what I'm saying, and I got the point across, because my brain it's everywhere. And I'm about to go to sleep. Can barely keep my eyes open. Anyways, this was Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.